business of sport, as we are joined by a longtime NHL player agent. Ritch Winter joins us every Wednesday. Ritch, how you doing?
Good. A little busy this week, but it's good. Yeah.
Now, I don't know. I've got to find the meme. Oh my God, I was dying when I saw of you, Ritch, that because not a client of yours, but Jordan Greenway signed an extension in Buffalo today worth $4 million. And somebody, and it was funny that they picked Mason Appleton, who I know is one of your clients. And it's like somewhere Mason Appleton's agent is wondering how, Greenway laundered $4 million from the Buffalo
And how long
Sabres.
do you think it took a friend of Mason's to get that ex post?
He sent it to you?
And then Mason sent it
classic.
to me. So I just wrote back and said, now we're asking for 5.
Oh, yeah.
Nemestikov just signed for 3. He's probably having a few vodkas right now just to get through it all.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
Patience, my man. In a rising cap, you don't sign early.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my God. That is so funny. We
It was hilarious.
I just found it. Actually,
it's even funnier when it comes from Mason, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pressure's on, Ritch.
Yeah, it's totally true. Wow. And do you have, because sometimes players you just sign a player and he's like, man, I signed last Friday, for instance. I just got a $3 million extension. I'm pretty happy about it. And then someone else comes out and gets more in another market. Do you ever have a guy come back, who was actually upset? Why didn't we get that? Or are most guys like, hey, man, good for him, but hey, I was happy with my deal at the time. I can't complain a week later.
I don't really recall it happening because we're pretty patient, but I think that usually when you do a deal, you have an idea that it could be, it won't age well, right? So you tell your client, you talk about it. Then there's just a lot of those situations where we're dealing with one right now where the player says they've offered, he's 30 years old, the middle 6 forward. Sometimes those guys don't get much of anything in free agency. And he's going, I like it here. Coach is good. We're winning. I'm fine with it, And so, sometimes you begrudgingly support your client getting the deal that he's happy with. But as long as you understand, you just don't want to be surprised a week later and go, oh my gosh, what were you doing? You said this was the max. Now, you don't want that happening.
Yeah, well.
And you already don't want your client traded to Carolina and find out that he didn't really want that. So I don't know what agents are doing there. It's certainly making our job easier.
Yeah, no, that's very true. So you mentioned, and you've talked about how, a lot of the now there's a few, obviously Mitch Marner, Mikko Rantanen, but I'm not sure how much more money Mitch Marner's going to get. He's already making $11 million, right? Rantanen's going to get a raise for sure. But, there's not a lot of other superstars. Leon Draisaitl's already signed. The cap's going up significantly this summer. Yeah. So a guy like Jordan Greenway, who probably a year ago or 2 years ago wouldn't have come close to getting that sort of raise. So he gets one.
Got 2.
Yeah. Do you think that will this lead to more players wanting to be patient and test the market? Or do you find that some guys, like you've always said it, don't chase money, chase opportunity, that if you're comfort on team A and they offer you a fair, respectable contract, sure, you might get $500K more a year from someone else, but that doesn't mean you'll be happier. How do you approach it?
No, you won't. I mean, at the end of the day, I think you look at the James Neals of the world. I always think the biggest problem for an athlete and his family is being grossly overpaid. People would think it's counterintuitive to what agents are doing, but you get a guy grossly overpaid. Media's on him. He's not happy. Expectations are dashed. He's miserable. Someone at school is bothering his kid about how bad his dad is and not delivering. That's a problem. You want to be paid a little more than maybe what's reasonable, but not too much more. But at the end of the day, look, man, there's a lot to be said for happiness, right? Like, I enjoy it here. I love my teammates. I love the city, my favorite haunt that I go to for pizza, pierogies, whatever it is. No. And at some point, money's not really that relevant. I just had a conversation today with a guy talking about how many venture funds are being set up for hockey players to invest in early stage startups. It's a different world.
Okay.
These guys have 50, 60. When Marian Hossa turned down $100 million to take $7.4 million from the Detroit Red Wings, that sounds insane, except he had 30 in the bank, right? And he knew he was going to get more afterwards. He wanted to play in Detroit. He had a plan, and he was prepared apparently to give up $92.6 million to get it, because money's not that relevant when you've got 30 or 40. I always think I chase opportunity. There's two things in every deal, money and opportunity. Chase opportunity. It'll always work out. Now, opportunity might be winning 3 cups. If in Marion's case, opportunity might be getting that big deal that Briz might talk about here later.
Yeah.
It depends. Every client's different. Marion had plans to win cups. Briz was very focused financially. He had made a decent living, but not enough to live the stuff. He wanted to focus on getting as much money as he could in the best situation he could. And when we talk about that later when he comes on, it's mind-boggling how risky that was. Because he and Thomas Vaucoon, you go look at the stats. They're both free agents. Now, Vauqu's a little bit older than Briz was at the time. But we timed the market, analyzed what was out there. There really was one place that needed a goalie that could pay, and that was Philly. Yeah. So I worked it out with Don Maloney so that he would trade him there. Why get him traded there before free agency? Vaucoon's not competition at that stage. They trade for him. We have them kind of in a corner, right? So that deal was interesting. Briz was very focused on setting his family up financially. He gets $56 million. Vaucoon with virtually identical statistics. What do you think he gets? 1.5.
Yeah, he got nothing.
Sometimes
I didn't know it was that low.
Sometimes the risk is significant, and you better be able to evaluate it. Now, if Domestikov could have got 3.5 or whatever the number is, and he's really happy in his Winnipeg because his daughter's son is in a really good play school or kindergarten, they're very happy, they have friends. Hey, is it going to matter? No, it's not going to matter.
No, it's not going to matter.
But all that time and that happiness with your kids, Tyler Bertuzzi might have been the only guy in the National Hockey League would probably go to Winnipeg for a discount.
Because he loves hunting.
Ice fishing. His biggest complaint when he's in Detroit the last year was it was such a warm winter I couldn't ice fish.
Yeah. That's where I think it's important. And sometimes people overlook certain aspects. And to me, as a general manager, I would be digging at, so you look, hey, we want players to fit in our team on the ice, no question, because that's our main goal, right? We want to have success. But if a player's happy off the ice, their chances of being successful on the ice increase. That's just a fact in any walk of life. If you go to your 100%. Job and you enjoy your job, you got a better chance you'll do a better job. That's just how it is. And so in Winnipeg or certain markets, you're okay, well, what do we have to offer? I would be talking to every agent and say, hey, do you have anybody who likes ice fish? And they'd be like, what do you, but seriously,
true.
You have to look at every different, it's so competitive now. You have to find what is our strength.
Yeah. Like what is your differentiator?
Yes.
I mean, I think years ago when Robert Schwela had decided to wrap up his career, Bobby had trouble keeping in shape. He, just had that kind of body. He was tired of it. So I wasn't really interested in him retiring. Yeah. So I came up with a strategy, got him traded to Toronto. And back then you could put anything you wanted in the addendum. There was no cap issues or anything. So I knew how much he wanted to own his hometown team. And I know how much he loved his wife, Ludmila. She's an equestrian. She owns her own horse. So I got them to make an offer that included enough money for him to buy Dukla Trenčin, which is the iconic team from which Gaborik and Hossa and all these guys have come from. And they threw in an equestrian membership for his wife at an exclusive equestrian club in Toronto and transportation for the horse from Florida to Toronto.
Yeah.
He went, that's so nice. And he played another year.
Yeah.
Because it showed that somebody had a heart. Someone was thinking about them. We talked about love a while ago, and it's really... Players want to be loved and respected and understood. So when someone plays to something that's really important to you, you got their attention now, right? Like, that was really nice. Ludmila's going to really like that. Like, imagine Bobby's a husband. He's going to get off the phone and say, honey, these guys in Toronto offered you free equestrian membership. Like, if they offered an extra $25,000, there would be no conversation. Now, all of a sudden, he and the wife are sitting down and going, I looked up that equestrian club online, honey. It looks incredible.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, the conversation changed. So you're right. Understand what players want and get that information to them. Because you know what? The guy who's just going for the money, unless he's in a situation where he hasn't been set up for life, you probably don't want him on your team anyway.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Jason Gregor, Rich Winter with you on the business of sports. When we return, Ilya Bryzgalov is going to join us. Still has some of the most memorable quick clips in NHL history. Why you have to be so mad? That one was a classic one. He's had a few others, but as Rich said, Ilya's one. He had a specific goal. Some guys are like, I'm going here. I have goals. I want to try to win. I want to do this or that. He was like, you know what? I want to be financially set up. So everybody's going to be different. We'll talk to Briz about the Philadelphia situation, playing in Canada for a short period of time, and much, much more. And we return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We continue on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Jason Gregor, Ritch Winner with you on a lovely Wednesday afternoon as we get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Ice and its championship season as the players in the JPHL chase the Prospects Cup. 105 teams in the HSL vying for the title, as well as the Female Super League Championships. Go to silentice.com and watch the action. And we are joined now on the Business of Sports by Stanley Cup winner. He was a second-round draft pick of the Anaheim Ducks back in 2000, won a cup with them, went on to star with the then Phoenix Coyotes, signed a huge deal with Philadelphia, actually played for the Edmonton Oilers. Netminder Ilya Bryzgalov joins us. Ilya, welcome to the show, my man. How you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing good.
Awesome. Of course, Ritch became your agent. I want to, because we talk about the business of sports. And so I want to go through, take us back to that off season. And during that time, because Newport was your representatives. And then, Ritch kind of joked that literally you just agreed to sign him over coffee. He was kind of amazed by it, but
not until I met Jenya.
No. Okay. Take us through that process, Ilya, and kind of what you were thinking and why you wanted to look for a different agent leading up to that negotiation for you.
Basically, I was not satisfied with the Newport Sports. My contract was with Anaheim was not with Anaheim, with the Coyotes was up, and we had a meeting like probably somewhere like in the mid of January.
Okay.
They came to Phoenix and we have a dinner and we discussed the strategy. They start talking about what kind of deal they want to sign for me, but never ask me what I want. Okay. They say like, okay, like, Ilya, you 31, we probably gonna sign you for the 5-year deal, like something like, I don't even remember the amount they talk about, but I was not obviously satisfied. And they just talk and never ask me like, what do you want? Like, how do you see the situation? Like, wherever you go, you're like, where you want to move? Like, are you happy here, or you want to move somewhere else? What's my options? That's basically, they just talking and said like what they're gonna do for me, but never ask what I want.
Yeah, there was no
That's basically for me was unacceptable.
Okay, and that's fair. Like they weren't really listening; they were just talking. So, how did you find out about Ritch? Did you have friends who had him as an agent? What led to you having that meeting? And ultimately, what made you decide to go with Ritch?
Scotty Upshall, he was my teammate, and he came to me in the plane and said like, hey, Briz, Rich Winter, he wants to meet you. Like I said, like, hey, no problem. I'm always open for the discussion and meet the new people. He said, like, can I call him? He said, like, and schedule the meeting. Yeah, I said, of course. And at some point, I don't remember exactly the date, because it's always the summer in Arizona. What? It was during the season, probably maybe March. We met with the Ritch, and yeah, we just talk. He gave me his vision, his ideas. He shared his plan. He obviously asked me like what I want, like what I want to do, what is my goals. You know what I mean? Like that's what he attracted.
And so obviously you believed in it. So you signed with them. And now take me through, because Ritch talked about it before, how you guys had a plan and there was you and Thomas Vokoun, and everybody knew there was really only one team that was, that was going to spend big for a goaltender. So it's kind of two guys going for one. How heavily involved were you, or were you a player said, okay, I hired Ritch, now Ritch, go do it? Or did you get like weekly, daily updates leading up to free agency that summer.
It's true, but it's kind of a little bit not true.
Okay.
First of all, there is. First of all, I could stay in Arizona, no problem, in a heartbeat.
Okay.
Sign the deal without agent. Is just have a conversation with the Don Maloney. Second of all, Thomas Vacuum. And that time he was already like something like 35 or 36.
Yeah, older, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's this is one of the problems too. When as I talked to Newport Sports, he mentioned the Vacuum. He said like, okay, there's Vacuum is 35, 36. Nobody wants to sign him for the long-term deal, and we're gonna sign you for the long-term deal for 5 years. And like, okay, and in 5 years I'm gonna be 35, 36, and nobody wants to sign me too. You know what I mean? That was the point, And there is one of the reasons, why they never ask me what I want, and they kind of come up with the plan. Also, they talking about Vacuum, how he's like a bit not very desirable goal in the market right now because of his age, And I understand that, it's a part of the business. It's a part of the. Nobody wants to sign the 35 years goalie for the 7-8 years, because it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. So. Ilya, you were what I always found interesting about you, and I know I talked to you briefly when you were in Edmonton, of course, and covered you, and you had a very different perspective as far as a lot of NHL players. You were you took the game very seriously, but you didn't take it so seriously that you could never seem to have fun. Like why you have to be mad is still one of the most memorable quotes that an NHL player had said, because it was so simple and it was so true. How are you able to play such a, there's lots of pressure to be an NHL player, and there's probably even more pressure to be a goalie, because at times you're kind of out there on an island, right? Like if a defenseman makes a mistake, well, there's Ilya Bryzgalov can save me. If a goalie makes a mistake, it's a goal. How are you able to kind of go through such a high pressure situation, but at least from the outside seem like you were pretty calm most of the time?
It all depends on situation to situation. You know what I mean? Sometimes, yeah, you look calm, but you don't want to show your emotions. But
okay.
It could be like a storm inside of you. It's obviously you can lose your control once in a while. Because when your glass is completely full and like water is overflowing. It depends on the situation on your surrounding too. Is it like your teammates supportive? Is your management, is a team management supportive? You know what I mean? They try to throw you under the bus every single time. You know what I mean?
Chris,
and put some team problems and try to make you a scapegoat, but when it's not even fair. It's a team sport, we win and lose as a team, but you can't make one person, take the whole blame, it's just not fair. It doesn't matter what position. It could be goalie or forward to the defenseman. You know what I mean? It's a team sport, and we're responsible as a team. For the results. And to pick one person, and blame him for everything is just not fair.
Ilya Bryzgalov with the guest appearance by your young son. Now, I know you're coaching your son. He's a goaltender. If Ritch was explaining to me, did you want him to be a goalie, or is it when your son sees dad playing goal all the time, he naturally grabs towards that?
Sorry, guys, I can't hear a word because he's driving. Victor, give me 10-15 minutes. No, you want to sit down? Sit down with me here. Yeah, sit down with me. Sorry, guys.
That's okay. Does he play goal?
We try to put him on the skates, but he's not very cooperative right now. Yeah, it's difficult cooking.
Yeah. I want to go, Ilya, you talk about, being a team sport and everything, which is key. Now, when you went to Philadelphia and you signed that contract, did you feel like, is there automatically more internal pressure as a player when you sign that big contract? Did you at all put more pressure on yourself?
No, as a professional, I want to do my job no matter how much they pay me,
Okay.
And doesn't matter which team I'm playing. It's all I want, just to win as more games as possible. In the end of the day, I just want to win the Stanley Cup or World Championship or going to be Olympic Games, whatever I'm playing. You know what I mean? I want to win as more games as possible. It's regardless what your salary. It's $10 million or $1 million. You can't take the competitiveness out of me. You know what I mean?
Right.
You go on the ice and you fight and you want to win, because I hate losing and I hate losing attitude. No!
And so so you don't put more pressure, but when you have the big contract, especially in the salary cap era and it's public, did you notice that there was more external pressure at all because now you had the big salary?
Like before I signed the deal, Sean Borg, we have a discussion. Victor, please stop. Jane, honey, can you do something, please?
Hey, sounds he's got a character just like his dad, I guess. I can understand that. And,
yeah. And
did you notice more external pressure at all?
He said, like, you're going to the hell. I didn't imagine what is it like, but hell could be different. If it's a fair criticism, I would love to accept it. Like, look inside me, what I could change. How can I be better? You know what I'm talking about. But when it's just not fair, it just make you pissed off. They come up with some stories. It's very difficult when you're also dealing with the people who is such uneducated. It's like it's difficult to discuss. Like it's all they want to write about the hockey, and they write the stories about the hockey. It's very primitive.
Okay.
They did not come up with a story like, oh, Flyers play and they lose by these reasons. It's problems in the teams more deep. Just for example, defense or goaltending. You know what I mean? It's if you come up with a full statement as a journalist, you know what I mean, and said like, yeah, it's pretty fair what you write here. That makes sense. Instead of just come up like 3, 4, like 2 paragraphs of some BS nobody can understand. And also, when you try to have discussions with them beside hockey, you understand they're not very intelligent, and it's very difficult. And you get criticized because when you tell them like, okay, for example, the first time, or for example, Americans or friends, they send the monkey to the moon, you know what I mean? They laugh at you first, they write some stupid article about you, he's crazy, and 2 days later came to you and said, oh my God, you was right. But there is no apology in the newspaper. We was idiots, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because I used to love it, Chris, when you would.
It's a past, like it's forever, forget,
Chris, I used to love it when you'd ask the Philadelphia reporter if he's actually at the game, because the question was so bizarre, and the only difference between Bryz and others, he just called it out, right? Like it didn't make any sense. And I think the odd thing I remember about Philly, I remember how frustrated you used to get when they used to continually have guys try and block shots in front of you. You couldn't see the puck. You had difficulty doing your job. I remember one time you saying to me, like, they're paying me $10 million to stop the puck and they won't let me see it. And there's a lot of reporters don't understand all those dynamics. So yeah, you're whiffing on a few shots that you can't see, and they have no understanding of that.
Yeah, there was a big problem too, because like I have this discussion with Peter Laviolette many times, and I said like, Peter, I need to see the puck, because if I don't see the puck, I don't have a control, because when I see the puck, I stop it, I catch it, or I put it somewhere in the corner or in the area where I want to put it to. For me, it's going to be more comfortable to recover and be ready for the second shot. When I don't see the puck, and D-block it, he's not catching it, it just hit him somewhere in the shin pads, in the pants, and if the goalie doesn't see it, it takes some time to find that puck, but defenseman already, he's not doing his job. He's not fighting with the player for the good position. He's catching the puck, and when the puck hit him, he's fallen somewhere. It's a boom, it's empty net goal. Because I don't see the puck. For me, it's tough to find it and place it. Where is it? It took some time, but it's in hockey. It's everything so quick. It's
well, when I listen to you talk about it, Briz, it just made no sense to me that you'd pay a guy $10 million to do something and not allow him to see so he could actually do it. You would complain about it. You try and express it to them. And that's where this intuition comes into play. It's coaches. They have a feeling, they have a way they want to play. And many of the coaches don't have much of an understanding of the game either at the NHL level.
It's possible, not every one of them brilliant. That's why, if you're the smart coach, and that's why we're the humans, we develop, we have a good brain, big brain compared to the animals, and that's why we can sit down and talk to find a solution, as a coach. Let's try to do that. It's might going to be benefit us both. And
Briz, it's
result
so
for the
obvious.
team. Result is a coach. But back to that moment, in my second year, in the end of the year, Chris Pronger came because he started getting involved after the surgery, after the injury, and he was just helping around in the office, and he came to the Peter Laviolette and said, why you guys blocking the shots? And they're like, oh yeah, right, why are we blocking the shots? And in the end of the second year, he come up and said we're not blocking the shots anymore, we fight for the position and let the goalie see the puck. This is exactly what I'm asking from you 2 years in a row.
Right.
And instead of build a good relationship, and listen each other and benefit, we just ruin relationship. Nobody wants to be there. Nobody wants to play there anymore. You know what I mean? And we parted our ways.
Ilya Bryzgalov joins us. Ilya, I don't think I've ever asked a goalie this question. Goalies have goalie coaches. Some have their own goalie coach in the offseason. They have a goalie coach with the team, and you had different ones. And Sean Burke has a reputation of being one of the best. How was your relationship with goalie coaches over the year? Was there a noticeable difference sometimes to one team to the next? And did a goalie coach really, make significant changes whenever you would go to a new team?
They could. It's a big deal. Goalie coach, the good goalie coach, like you mentioned, Sean Burke, right? He's excellent goalie coach, and also he's very calm. And also when he's trying to talk to the coaches and explain them, sometimes goalie coaches, they are afraid, when they're watching the goals after the game, and coach is like, oh, it's a bad goal, give up bad goal. And goalie coach doesn't say anything. Sean Burke, he's not afraid to say it whoa, hold on, guys. This is not a bad goal.
All right.
Look, we put the goalie in the position when he have to worry about the few things. Shooter, there is a backdoor passer, and also for example, high slot guy, and they all open. There is so many options, and goalie sees that. He can't be just square to the shooter. he's turned his body a little bit, to adjust. What if he make the pass to the back door, and at least give myself a chance if he make that pass also to play that puck. You know what I mean? If I just stay straight to the shooter, he make the pass, I can't even turn my body to try to stop the pass the back door, for example. That's right. Why he was adjust his body and not square to that shooter. And he shoot it and he scored because we put him in that position. And it's like, oh yeah, you're right, huh?
Right.
This is not a bad goal anymore. In the coach's mind, actually, we don't have a bad goalie. You know what I mean? That's not in reality his fault.
Well, that makes a lot of sense because, I think there's lots of people that, even in the hockey world that don't really understand the goalie position. It's so technical now. And, if you're playing a certain way that it might look bad on video, but then if you break it down, it's like, well, actually, that's not really a bad goal. And I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges in it. And, I've always wondered, for you, you're a well-spoken guy. You were never afraid to speak your mind. Like, have you ever thought about sitting down and just breaking down goals around the NHL and explaining to people on YouTube, well, this is why this is what happened. And this isn't a bad goal. Or in some case when maybe there is, hey, this is a goal the goalie should stop, and kind of go into the detail without, it doesn't mean that you're insulting the goalie. You're more educating people on why certain things happen at certain times of the ice, on certain plays and in certain areas of the ice. Would that be beneficial, do you think?
I think, yeah, it could be if it's somebody interesting, I don't know how, but I don't know how to do that. You see, I'm so busy with the little one. He not let me go anywhere without him for the 5 minutes.
Yeah. But it would be like, because I think it is the most misunderstood position. Maybe
it is most difficult. Yes, it's most difficult. You got to play the goal to understand that goal. You got to understand the mind of the goalie, what's going through, why he's trying to do this, what he's trying to do here. It is difficult position. You have to be so smart. You got to read the plays, predict the plays, what can happen possible.
Ilya Bryzgalov joins us. Now the butterfly position, Ilya, is very demanding on goaltenders. We see goalies now playing, they're starting fewer and fewer games all the time. There's a lot of science on it. Is there any change if you look at the goalie position now when you watch it? Like, is there any way goalies could be better? Like, is a hybrid better for them long-term health-wise just because of all the pressure that goes into the hips and constant being in a butterfly? Or is that's just the, I guess, the negative of playing that position? You're going to have to do it.
Sorry, Jason. I just forget that there's two goalie coaches who make a huge impact on my career. The Francois Allard in Anaheim and Sean Burke.
Yes.
I think, goaltending it's like everything, we continue to develop as a humanity, our technologies continue to develop, same as we do, same we develop too. Same as a goaltending, going to be forward, sticks, skates, equipment, everything, continue will grow, develop. Right now, yes, I think most of the goalies, in my opinion, and overuse the reverse VH. They sometimes put themselves in trouble to get in reverse VH. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
When they put and when the pucks go to back door, far side, they can recover quickly and get in front of the shooter square, because when you can stand on your feet out there by the post,
right?
It's not a threat. Puck in the corner is not that dangerous situation. Even puck somewhere like in the mid of the zone, in the closer to the goal line. You know where I'm talking about. They already right in reverse VH and puck goes to the back door and they can push because they're already in reverse VH and backdoor goal. I said, yeah, it's a D supposed to cover that guy, right? But he's not. You probably can stand on your feet, and if puck goes backdoor, you can slide easily and bring the whole body.
Ilya Bryzgalov joins. When you watch today's goalies, Ilya, we see, Vasilevsky, of course, in Tampa Bay is one of the best. Shesterkin, Connor Hellebuck, but they all kind of have different styles, right? Like there's not one certain way to play the game. If you were coaching a young goalie today, how do you find out like what's the best? How did you know like what was the best style for you? How do you find that out as a goalie?
You just identify first of all, it's a physical aspect. Second of all, identify his strong sides and develop. And also you work on the weaker sides. It's pretty easy.
What was, if you look back in your career, what was your best skill set as a goalie? And what were the areas that you found that you had to work the hardest on to improve?
My best is playing the puck.
No, but seriously, what was your best, and what was the thing that you found the hardest that you needed to work on the most? Like you obviously played in the NHL, you're a great goaltender, but what was the area you felt you had to work on the most to improve when you got to the NHL?
Probably were like I'm not accomplished, playing the puck.
Yeah,
because I was thanks my dad and my mom, I was built like as an athlete, I was flexible, strong, like with a good size, with a great athleticism, good reaction, all natural talents was there. And two coaches helped me develop, like Francois and like Sean Burke. But one thing I can achieve to playing the puck well, because like with this glove, like and stick, it's still so awkward for me. Like it's like, God damn, you don't play the puck, just drop the glove and play it.
Did you ever just want to say, "Can I just stay in the net and not have to play it"?
It's sometimes, most of the times, it's better that way, because when I go behind the net, it's usually could cost us trouble.
Now, Ritch was telling us, and we don't have to necessarily get into the details on it, but you and Ryan Suter, was he your favorite teammate to debate politics with?
Ryan Suter, he likes to talk politics. Yeah, like 2 years ago, we saw each other at Madison, Wisconsin. He's big, like, we stepping on the wrong road right now, guys.
I just think it's interesting, Briz, that you.
It is very interesting. It's very deep, guys. If we go to politics right now, especially with all these new tariffs and like all that going on in the Europe, disaster.
Briz, let me stop.
Worldwide.
No, it's not so much the details, but I just found it really interesting how much fun you guys, because when you guys had different perspectives, it was just fun to watch you debate, right? Like, so it's not so much the content of the politics, but it's interesting that you guys would be sitting down at Benihana or wherever it was you're having dinner, and you guys would be engaging in really deep, meaningful discussions about things that people really wouldn't think you'd be talking about around a bunch of hockey players out for dinner, right?
Yeah, obviously he have his very strong opinion, like how he sees like countries should develop and which way countries should move. Actually, it's not much I can disagree with him, because my views is similar, maybe more to the center than to the right. But there was fun discussions for the fun, you know what I mean? But our positions on the politics and the views is not that different. And sometimes I have to explain him about like he sees some news about the Russia, and because it's explained in a U.S. news, whatever channel you're watching, for example, Fox News or whatever going to be other channels, they don't give you the full perspective. They not give you the view from the Russian, for example, Russian standpoint, who grew up out there and live out there. You know what I mean?
Well, Briz, what I liked about it, I just remember.
And you explain him this, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't see it from that point of view." You know what I mean? That makes sense right now. Why they think it that way?
Well, I think, Briz, what I thought was interesting when you interviewed Ryan at the All-Star game one year, and you asked him, when you mentioned the debates you had about politics, the smile across his face was huge. Like you could tell that you guys had fun intellectually, challenging each other on things other than,
the power play or
the power play or other things. Yeah, I just found it really interesting that the connection that the two of you developed was because of your passion for talking at an intellectual level that very few players did. I just found that really interesting.
It is. This is a big problem because it's very rarely you can have a deep conversation about something, whatever. It could be like the politics or some universe or some physics or chemistry. It's very rare who you can find a partner to discuss those topics in an NHL.
Like, I think one of the most fun you and I had together was when we went out for dinner in Minneapolis when you were there for training camp that year. We must have spent 2 or 3 hours talking about this kind of stuff. And it really is fascinating to understand the perspective. Briz very much shares my views, but learning how it could be perceived from a totally different perspective is just fascinating and fun. And I think without getting into the details, I just wish we had more discussion, civil discussion in this day and age, so that we could,
Hey, do you need a goalie coach in Edmonton? We can
if you ask the fans, they definitely want a goalie coach change, Ilya. So you never know about that. Quickly now, late in your career, Edmonton was the only Canadian market you played in. And I know you were only here for a few months. What do you remember? Like, obviously the Oilers, that was kind of, during the tough years, that they'd been rebuilding and they didn't have an overly good team. They had some young, exciting players in Hall and Nugent Hopkins and Eberle, but they weren't necessarily the most stout defensive team at all. What do you remember about playing in Canada on that team? And was playing in Canada noticeably different at all for you than playing in your stops in the United States?
It was different because most of the time there were like snow. And barely we see the sun, especially when the coach was so upset, Dallas Eakins. He was so mad at us, and it was what was it called? Like it was Olympic break. It was in Sochi. He said, "Guys, I swear to God, you got to start practice like 7 a.m. in the morning."
That's right. You did have a 7 a.m. practice.
7 a.m. in the morning. Yes, we get to the rink at 6. It was absolutely dark. We get out, and it was like February, and we get out of the rink. It's still dark.
Briz, tell the story, because I think it's really, to me, you're such a good quality guy, and I think sometimes you're misunderstood. But I think one of the moments that I remember most is, Anaheim brought you back after you'd been away from the game after the tryout in Minnesota. They didn't give you enough time to get ready for the season. I think they pushed you too hard, too fast because the other goalie got injured. And I just found it really interesting what you did after that. Like, at the end of the day, you made it clear to me that your integrity and your character wouldn't allow you to do something very few athletes would do, which is take the money when you weren't able to earn it. Just tell us how that went. You went and saw Bob, and what did you do?
That is basically the situation, like I pretty much retired, it was in middle of probably November or the beginning of the November when you called me and said like, okay, Anaheim wants to sign you, like we reached the agreement, and it was a good contract. very good contract. There was something like $3.5 million, you know.
Yeah.
And I was okay. I basically didn't do anything since the May, you know, when we finished the playoff with the Minnesota, and we tried to find a team during the summer, and we couldn't. And I decided, okay, probably it's time to retire. And when I fly to Norfolk Admirals, and I spent the week out there, played 2 games, and I was surprisingly, like, I stepped on the ice like 3 times, 3 practices, and played 2 games, and actually did very well, you know, good save percentage, 1 win, 1 loss, but we like something like I did very well. I was surprised myself, and they think I'm probably ready, and they called me up, but NHL is totally different level. They train already at full speed, and no matter how hard and I'm 35 years old. It's not like I'm a 22. You know, it's easy to get in shape.
Right.
Doesn't matter how hard I practice on the ice, off the ice. I was first at the rink, last out of the rink. I still can't catch up. And that's what pissed me off, you know, because you expecting from yourself the same level you used to play, but you can't do that. And also the coach is asking from you, Bryz, we want to see you like old Bryz. Can you do that? You're like, yeah, I'm trying to do that. I want to help the team. I want to be... I want to play. I want to win the game. Sometimes you come I play a few games and sometimes with the bright spots, you know, like you did well, but still, you know, I couldn't get in the shape, like the shape I needed. Like this, my bar set very high, and it was most frustrating time. And at some point, we're back actually from Edmonton. Yeah, we're back from Edmonton, and was a flight delay because the airplane was broken. We're waiting for another one. When we get to the LA, there is no, what was it? Not security, like, you know, who check the passport.
Oh, no, yeah, no passport.
Customs. We're waiting in the planes for an hour and a half. And I'm like, oh my God, I hate hockey. You know, I'm here not playing. I can't get myself in shape. And my family in Philadelphia, I miss them so badly. And as soon as I get to the hotel, just probably 3 hours later, like around 10, David McNabb called me and said, like, Bryz, Bob Murray wants to talk to you. I'm like, okay, I'll be there shortly. I get to the rink. He said, like, Bryz, we understand you have a difficult time. We got to send you to the farm team to get in shape. And it's get in shape and come back later. And I knew, you know, in my heart, I couldn't be same and that I was. And we just decide, like, I talked to the Ritch, said, like, Ritch, I'm not going to the farm team.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's a good contract. I just walk away from this money because it's not money what brings me the joy. The game brings me the joy, and as the game starts, brings you the desire. It's better to stop. And I knew I can't be myself anymore. Just simple as that. Train is gone. Why I should butcher the team, myself, and first of all, my family to be away from.
And I think, Bryz, it's
because of the money.
No,
it's not worth it. Money doesn't worth it.
Well, I think, Bryz, we hear so much about greedy athletes now. I just think it's kind of refreshing. I remember when you told me you were going home because you missed your family it's kind of compelling when you miss your family as much as you did. And it's kind of it to me, the purity of the way you approach the game and your compassion and your commitment and your sort of your equitable way of you look at things fairly. I just think the fact that you could walk into a general manager and say, honestly, guys, I can't do it anymore and I can't take your money. I'm going home to be with the kids and with my wife, Zhenya. I think that to me, it indicates why you found happiness in your life because you put family first. And the more of us that do that, I think we'll be better off. Never chase the money. It's never going to make you happy.
No.
Like you said.
Family is the most important. Yeah, your wife, your kids, your grandchildren. It's because like when you start chasing the money, you will never get it.
Ilya, thanks so much, man, for joining us. We really appreciate it. Great insight into the goalie position and lots of other things. And as always, it's good to talk to you and continued success. Hopefully your son keeps you on your toes.
And maybe Jason will talk to the general manager, Stan Bowen, when he sees them this week and mention the goalie coach.
Are you putting your name in? Do you want to be a goalie coach?
Why not? No, I'm serious. Okay, Ritch, thank you very much. Glad to see you. Thank you, Jason, to having me on your show, guys. Thank you very much.
Take care,
Awesome.
Briz.
Have a great day. That's Ilya Bryzgalov. Hey, why not? Why not? You never know. I like it was very interesting what he said about certain goalie coaches are going to have more say than others, seniority in different times and stuff like that. And goalie coaches have an impact, and it's a relationship. Nobody spends more time with the goalie than the goalie coach.
No, it's really true. It's one of the rare positions they can have a huge impact because they're there so much. But what's really interesting is what Briz said. So few of them know the defensemen are poorly positioned in the front of the net. They know that they're preventing the goalie from doing his job. In Philadelphia, many of them knew that the block preventing Briz from seeing the puck was impeding his ability to help them win. And yet it took 2 years before someone with a little more street cred comes in and says, in Chris Pronger, hey, you should probably let this guy see the puck. He's pretty good. By that time, he'd worn out his welcome, and those guys had lost dozens and dozens of games because they weren't talking to each other. It's bizarre, really.